Hey friends, the team at Frost Giant Studios have finally revealed some real gameplay of their upcoming RTS, Stormgate. I haven't yet covered anything about the game because I wanted to see the gameplay before forming any opinions. So to those of you that haven't yet heard, Stormgate is a spiritual successor to the Blizzard RTS games, StarCraft and Warcraft, and the dev team includes several former developers of these games. They are aiming for a high-profile launch, with the game looking to satisfy all audiences within RTS. So whether you want a campaign, PvE, 1v1 competitive, team games, or custom modes, you are the target audience of Stormgate. A closed beta was announced. It starts in July. I linked the sign-up page in the description. Let's get on with it though, and take a look at the gameplay video. Okay, so here's the gameplay. We've got a bunch of deployed heavy mechs in the back. Looks like they just deployed. They're charging up their shots and doing some pretty decent AoE damage. But it looks like it's not all that much damage overall. Just focusing on the left side here, they're gonna be overwhelmed now with mass infantry, it looks like, including melee troops. Yeah, once you get on top of them, they will be evaporated, but not without causing some significant damage. Looks like they have some damage over time in the end, and well, everything else kind of just melted away. So going back a little bit, focusing still on this left side, because there's 3 battles going on simultaneously. It's very difficult to take it all in. These guys are called the medtechs. They are healing the Vulcans up front, who are the big mechs. And they just shoot their machine guns. Once it's spun up, they are doing more damage. That's pretty much it. Then there's medtechs in the back behind these. What are these guys called again? They are called the EXO. So they're essentially your Marines that you might be familiar with from StarCraft. And yeah, not much more to say about the left side of the battle. I really like the siege shots getting telegraphed to let you know where to split out of. Now let's focus a little bit on what's going on the right side of the screen with these additional battles. So we've got a little bit of high ground bullying and overcoming greater numbers. Splitting out of that. And that was that interaction. Let's see what the bottom one is. So there's a bunch of exos, as they're called, in the tall grass. I assume that must mean that they're hiding, because nothing's actually shooting back at them. Like, see, the other exos were distracted by other units, so I'm not sure whether that means that these guys are actually hidden or not. There's no UI indicator for that right now in this, so maybe they're not hidden. We're going to find out, I guess, as we go. Then we've got a bunch of scouts, which are essentially dogs with laser eyes, trying to get on top of these exos, getting some nice surrounding. This is exactly the interaction that you know from StarCraft 2's Zerglings versus the Terran Marines. There's nothing new there, really. But we've got yet another scene on the top starting up. So we've got a drop from the evac transport, which is also able to heal targets. So it's exactly like a medivac in StarCraft 2. Then we've got the Atlas shooting the other one and doing some friendly fire, it would seem, as well as obviously damaging those Lancers. Everything's very readable and clear, and the colors are pretty strong. And we've got a TLO.
Obviously played RTS my entire life, so it's been a real privilege for me to be one of the first people to try out Stormgate. Really stoked about this match against Kevin. Think I'm gonna do some light harass in the early game and then just try to overwhelm him with a massive amount of macro.
So you can see some very basic base building. The workers directly disappear into the building, so you can't actually stop them, it would seem. The resource gathering seems very Warcraft 3-esque, with this resource node supporting up to 12 workers. Wonder if that's fully efficient. The document I've been given is not actually very descriptive on that front, but yeah, very Warcraft-like. There's not much economic macro to do in that sense, that you don't have to split up your workers into different locations, with some mineral nodes being closer like there was in StarCraft 2. Certainly not as busy as it would have been in other games like the Age of series. And as for the UI, if I just move myself a little bit to the other side for a second, we've got a combined menu, it would seem. So I assume you press Q and you can now check out all the buildings that you can make. And then there's an upgrade button over here, which I assume upgrades your command post to tier 2, unlocking tier 2 units. There's energy, which based on the information I have is essentially going to boost your workers in terms of attack and defense. So very much Warcraft, like again, like the humans, so you can turn their workers into militia. You can kind of pull the boys, or the Bobs as they're called here, and then Bob's your uncle. We've got production as well for, I'm not sure what the difference between 1 swords and 2 swords is. I guess basic and advanced units, and then basic research and advanced research, I would assume, for WERT. And then you've got the advanced resource node here, which then has a separate drop-off building, which is actually going to be your upgrade building, the Therium Refinery. That's where you get passive upgrades and acts as a drop-off for that resource.
Really stoked about this match against Kevin. Think I'm gonna
which is why that worker just went there.
And then just try to overwhelm him with a massive amount of macro.
Your habitat for your housing needs. You have, like I said, the 2 resources and then the population resource, which is then, you need the habitats for that. There's the first doggo with the laser eyes, Scout. I really like the fact that they're showing the stats on there. The doggo is mechanical, so you can actually repair that with a worker.
Hi, my name is Kevin Monkdong, and I work on gameplay and balance on Stormgate. Today, I'll be trying a fast expansion build, and then I'll try to tech to higher tier units to defend whatever TLO throws at me.
You can see that infantry units can kind of go through trees, and Kevin in the red here is trying to go tier 2, pumping out a bunch of Vulcan mechs, the ones with the machine guns. He's trying to get up a turret, but in the process losing way too many workers. The units are about to pop out, so questionable, you know, you could have not done that. And they're buffed up right now with, I assume, that command post ability that gives them some more fighting power. And there's the big boys who are going to absolutely evaporate these Exos.
I did a lot of worker damage there, so I'm at a pretty bad economic disadvantage. I'm going to have to try some really sneaky tactics.
They cannot go through.
An upgrade TLO isn't familiar with, perhaps, maybe even luckily creepjacking it.
So you have to go for the transport. And currently he's trying to creepjack TLO. Creepjacking means that you steal this creep that he's trying to take over right now. You get 50 something and 0 something. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. There's some kind of reward for creeps. There's no heroes, by the way, in the 1v1 mode here. And we've got a Atlas trying to siege down these infantry units, but it's getting absolutely destroyed.
Again from the right side through the light trees, but this time we'll bring in a larger force from the left side as well. And I think I'll be able to out-micro him here. He has a more static mech army, I believe, and my bio unit should be able to touch all the
so that's a lot of infantry.
Have a pretty smooth path of attack here.
And you can see that everything is very readable, but this is an extremely cramped base and there's so many trees, even though it's not a resource you can actually gather in the game. There's another type of unit here that is not actually a unit that was listed before, but the complexity of the tech tree is starting to show itself. Yet you could also probably notice that if you were looking at the turrets, they didn't seem very animated yet. We're going to go back in a second just to highlight that. I'm not sure what these are. I actually don't have a description for them. That's not an evac transport, so don't know what that does. We're gonna find out. Going back a little bit, they are shooting anti-air targets. So
army, I believe, and my bio unit should be able to.
So Kevin there had some transport, right?
There and have a pretty smooth path of attack here.
You can see the shots doing. These are clearly different units from the transport, but we never get to see their abilities. The infantry is just too high in number. Those Exos are wrecking all of the Atlas units, and they just weren't able to do much. So yeah, that is all that we've got for the moment. It's looking pretty good to me. Everything's really smooth. I kind of wish that maybe there was a little bit more to macro management in the game. It looks very simple at the moment, especially in terms of resourcing. So someone from an Age of Empires background might be underwhelmed by that, but then again, they did say that the game appeals to the Blizzard DNA and the players that seek that kind of stuff. So I guess that is the objective, and here you can see that we've got attack move, we've got stop, we've got guard. I assume this is follow, I assume this is patrol. So some good amount of commands there from the get-go. I also know for a fact that they're gonna make it so that your control grouping is pretty much automated across the board, that you can basically define where your units get put as they are getting created, so you don't need to manually go back to your base and then pick up control groups. So that is very nice to see. Some innovation on that front, definitely like that. As for the creeps, I think it's very interesting that they are going for it, and these charging forward abilities are very nice as well to stun some of those exos. Again, the chicken doesn't exactly say what it gives, but it should guarantee that there's some value to controlling the map rather than just having vision. You'll get something more actual out of it, and lovely pickup micro. The game is extremely responsive, you can see that right away. Very sad that it's such a short trailer, so it's very quickly interrupted, and there's some tidbit on the ground in the purple that we just don't know what it is. And I wonder if if the tall grass over there is actually something that can hide your smaller units like the exos. I mean, everything's super readable, so definitely a huge fan of that. There's a lot of resource nodes around the map, so definitely the expansion is going to be encouraged, so that you don't just have everything in one place and then get your workers wrecked, but that you have to spread out a little bit, and that rewards you in terms of efficiency. So that's all we got for now. Frost Giant promised further updates will be shared soon, but I guess we can't yet expect serious coverage from the betas considering they are closed. Anyways, this is definitely something that I would like to cover, so make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons on the way out, and I'll see you again with more Stormgate content when the time comes.